In 1910, the Japanese government annexed Korea. Korea under Japanese rule faced atrocities. In 1912, the government general promulgated laws which allowed the Japanese to have ownership of all Korean land. Approximately 725,000 Koreans were forced to work in Japanese projects. The aim was to absorb the entire country and destroy the Korean nationality. In order for Japan to strip Koreans of their identity, they burned thousands of Korean history books and documents. Besides controlling education, Japan enslaved more than 200,000 Korean women for sexual servitude. The victims were referred to as comfort women. The comfort women were packed in trains like cattle and sent to military stations. These young women were identified with numbers rather than names. They faced years of abuse, being drugged, beaten, and raped. Some of these women even fell victim to Japan's human experiments. The establishment of comfort stations were to prevent rapes in occupied territories and to prevent soldiers from contracting sexually transmitted diseases. Kim Bok Dong was 14 years old when she was taken from her home to presumably work in a factory to create military gear. Although she didn't want to go, she left to save her family from Japanese soldiers. Kim Bok Dong was not taken to work in a factory. Instead, she found herself being transported to one of the hundreds of comfort stations. Despite her young age, she was forced to start working as a sex slave upon arrival. The first time, I got dragged into one of the rooms and beaten up a bit, so I had to comply. How can we live like this? We are better off dead, said Kim Bok Dong. Using the little money she had received from her mother, she and two other girls convinced a cleaning woman to buy them a bottle of strong alcohol and drank it till they passed out. They were found unconscious and had their stomachs pumped. After waking up, she decided to live no matter what and tell her story. In order to live, she had no choice but to comply. On Saturdays, she'd start from noon till 6 p.m., one after the other. If one soldier took longer, then the other would bang on the door until it was his turn. I did it so many times a day that I lost count. By 5, I couldn't even get up. On Sundays, she was forced to work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Japanese tried covering the existence of these comfort stations by turning the comfort women into nurses at the army hospitals. Kim Bok Dong worked as a nurse for about a year waiting to be rescued. Although Japan surrendered, many Japanese soldiers refused to admit defeat. Once hospitals shut down, Koreans were told to gather at U.S. prison camps, and so she went. There she was told that she was able to go where she wanted, and so she sailed back home. It took Kim Bok Dong 8 years to meet her family once again. And although she reunited with her family, they did not know the pain and suffering she endured. Despite all the suffering Kim Bok Dong went through, she could not tell her family what truly happened. How could I have told them about my experiences? I had things done to me that were unfathomable. After surviving the comfort stations, many women weren't able to speak out about the atrocities done to them. Korea's society did not have a safe space for women to go public. Everything changed when Kim Bok Dong mustered the courage to tell her story publicly. In 1991, at the age of 60, Kim Bok Dong became the first South Korean victim to break her silence and share her story. By 1992, the whole world knew what the Japanese Empire had done to Korea, to thousands of innocent women like Kim Bok Dong. But things didn't go so smoothly. Japan argued that the comfort women and comfort stations never existed and that the women were paid prostitutes. She started the Butterfly Fund to help support wartime rape victims and survivors. Till this day, things haven't been resolved. Although there was a settlement reached in 2015 between Japan and South Korea, which saw that the Japanese captors pay 1 billion yen to fund victims despite all the revelations and evidence. Some still claim the women were not forced to work in the comfort stations. Kim Bok Dong's official apology never came. She passed away on January 28, 2019. Although she passed away, her legacy will live on and help raise awareness. Kim Bok Dong's story and the comfort station survivors will forever be remembered and reflected upon. Japan's wartime conduct and crimes will be acknowledged and used as guidance to better educate the younger generations to prevent repetition.